like I say, if your R formula starts with sine, then your R formula will have sine. If you start with cosine, then your R formula will be cosine. But typically, the template will be given to you. So like this question, they will give you the thing itself. So this part you don't need to worry so much. Okay, what you need to take note is cosine is plus minus, then this part is minus plus. Also, don't worry too much because the question will give to you. Okay, then your R is just equals to square root a square minus b, a square plus b square, and alpha equals to tangent inverse b over a. And then normally the first part of the question, they always ask you to show something, prove something, and then we use Tokaso to do that. Okay, so let's take a look uh, at the questions. Okay, the diagram shows an area enclosed by a glass panel. Show that L, the length of the glass panel. Glass panel is AD, or the last length of glass panel. So basically, in this question, we want to find the parameter lah. Is it A, B, B, C, and A? Nope. So we only want to find these three lengths. Here, here, and here. Okay, and you can see that there's not a lot of right angle triangle. So when lines are needed to be added to your diagram in the R formula question, we typically only add vertical and horizontal line. Don't try to add diagonal lines, this and that, okay? So yeah, so where should I add? I should add like that and like that lah. Okay, so try to just think of horizontal and vertical line. And second thing, the number given are typically the hypotenuse of the vertical line. Okay, so first thing first, we plant our theta. This is 90, so this is 90 minus theta. So this will become theta. Okay, this is also 90. Then label this point as x maybe. Okay, so part A show that L is this. So we want to find the length of the yellow color one. So in the end, we only need to find what? On the end, we only need to find the length of BC. Okay, so we know that BC is actually equals to, this one add a Y. BC is actually equals to AY minus AX. Okay, so to find BC, we use AY minus AX. So now we need to find these two. So how to find AY? We use this triangle. Okay, this is the hypotenuse, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent. So now I want to find the opposite. I use sine theta equals to AY over 30. So 30 sine theta equals to AY. Okay, next I want to find my AX. I use this triangle. So this will become my opposite, this will become my this is my hypotenuse, this will become my adjacent. So I would have cosine theta equals to AX over 10. So AX equals to 10 cosine theta. Okay, so finally we can write BC equals to 3 sine theta, 30 sine theta minus 10 cos theta. So L is equals to 30 plus 10 plus BC. Okay, so that is part A. Part B, express L in this form. So you can see that the 40 is actually the 40 here. So we don't need to go and use R formula on the 40. We just write down this and find our R and alpha. Okay, so R equals to square root 30 square plus 10 square, square root 1000. Then to find alpha, alpha equals to tangent inverse 10 over 30. Yeah. It's 18.4349 degrees. Okay. Please write down the more significant figure. Also, you are going to use it later. So therefore, L is equal to 40 plus square root 1000 sine theta minus this one. You write as three significant figure because this is an answer. Okay, so that is your L. Find the total length of glass panel is 65 meter. Find the value of ether. So now they are telling, oh, your L is, they tell you that, oh, my L now is 65. So what do? You put 65 inside the equation and you solve for your theta. So now the theta, the alpha that you use, please do not use your 18.4. Use more significant figures. So first thing, subtract the 40. Divide by the 1000. Okay. Now we will do sine inverse. Normally, when we do sine inverse, we are actually finding, uh, you must remember you're actually finding basic angle. But then, in our formula, we seldom require to do that because our theta are typically in the first quadrant. Okay, so rare, but also do check. So, my theta minus 18.4349 is actually equal to sine inverse that. Sine inverse that will give me 52.2388 degrees. So theta equals to 70.7 degrees. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, any questions so far? So by right, why I know press. By right, why is there only okay, by right, if you were to do your basic angle, right, then this is your basic angle. Then this is positive, so you consider first and second quadrant. Okay, so your second quadrant will tell you that this is equal to 180 minus your basic angle. But then you know that based on this, when you calculate, your theta will be an obtuse angle. Okay, the problem is why it cannot be obtuse angle because you can see over here everything is right angle triangle. Theta must be a value that is between 90. If theta is not between 0 and 90, then you cannot use Stochastic in the first place already. Okay, so the blue color one, you will realize that it's just like when you square root, you realize that you are doing a length, then you square root, you got plus minus. It's quite funny that sometimes you go and reject. Oh, so these are things that you need to consider. But uh, when you solve trigo equation in math, definitely you need to think of basic angle. Okay, there is situation whereby there is two answers for your theta, okay, and you need to consider. Doesn't mean R formula always like that. There is like that 10% chance that you will have two sets of answers. And typically that happens when we are dealing with cosine, not sine. Okay? Sine also possible. Okay, if not, then I move on to the next part of the question. What did the next part ask? Explain whether is it possible to build an area where the length of the glass panel is 90 meter. Okay, so let's take a look at whether is it possible or not. So we know that the length is actually equals to 40 plus square root 1000 sine theta minus 18.4349. So from this thing, we know one thing is that sine this is definitely a number that is between 0. Okay, never mind. We just say it must be less than or equals to 1. We don't need to care the other part. Okay, so because why we are only looking at the maximum. So we just say that, oh, this sine anything definitely less than or equals to 1. So when I square root 1000, I would have to square root the other side. Then when I plus 40, I also need to add 40 on the other side. So this tells us what? This tells us that L must have a value of lesser than this. So when we press our calculator, square root 1000, we get 71.622. So L is a value that must be lesser than 71.6 meter. So therefore not possible. What did they ask? Not possible to build. Wait a minute. Oh, with an area with length 90 meters. Based on your math, the maximum that you can go is only 71.6 lah. Not possible for it to go until 90 meter. Okay. Anyone got any question? Anything to clarify? Okay, nothing. Then we move on to the next question. Oh, trigo graph. So a little more difficult already. Yeah, I think I have questions missing. Okay, never mind. Let's take a look at trigo graph 43. Okay, so we must know that in a trigo equation, this A is affected by amplitude. This B is affected by period. Okay. Then now we make use of that to find what we need to find. Okay. So how to find our period from the question? So let's take a look where is the period first. So period is when one cycle is completed. So you can see this is the period. Okay, then you can see because this is the same pattern already. So your period in this question is the period is pi. So how does B and period link? B is not equals to your period. I say first. B is linked to your period. So B stands for you have B cycle in 2 pi. Okay, so to find in pi how many cycle you have to take B divided by 2. There's B over 2 cycles in pi. Ah yeah, never mind, don't do like that. Okay, always find one cycle. So one cycle happened in when? One cycle happened in 2 pi over B. And period stands for your one cycle. So what does this means? This means that the pi must be equals to the 2 pi over B. So this tells us that B is actually equals to 2. Okay, next, which is the next easiest one to find? The next easiest one to find is the plus C. The C tells us that the graph was shifted up or shifted down how many times. So how do we see this line? Okay, you must imagine today if I don't have B, correct? Then my graph will look like what? I will always start from 0. My graph will start from 0 and it will end like so. It will be like that, something like that. It will be something like that. Oh, okay. So why this point become this point? Okay, why this point become this point? Why this point become this point? Okay, so the reason is very simple because the graph has been shifted up, and from here you can see clearly that it has been shifted up by 5 units. So from this point, then we will know that actually C is equals to 5. Okay, finally, we need to find our A. So how to find A? A is actually your amplitude. One way is to see from the graph. The next easiest way to find amplitude is just take the maximum minus the minimum, then divide by 2. So from the graph, the maximum is 9, the minimum is 1. You divide by 2, so the amplitude is 4. So A equals to 4. Okay, so to summarize, A equals to 4, B equals to 2, and C equals to 5. Okay, part B is not very common. Using the symmetry of graph or otherwise, find the equation connecting pi, k, and f. So one thing that we know is easier to see one is that the relationship between k and m. Okay, the relationship between k and m is quite clear. This is k, and then this is m. Okay, so quite clearly we will know that actually k equals to k plus pi, no plus 2 plus pi equals to m. Why do I add pi? This is our period. This is our one cycle in the question. Okay, so this is the first thing that I know. Oh, that's it lah. Oh, find an equation connecting pi, k, and m. Done. Okay, because that is your one cycle lah. So one cycle in pi. Then what is the purpose of L? Never mind. Don't know. Just answer accordingly. Okay. Any question so far for this question? Worst case scenario, you sub the value, you sub the point inside here to calculate, but that can be sometimes not doable because too many unknowns there already. Huh? And then got sign, not very convenient for you to use simultaneous equation. As of now, do you have any question? If you have any question, the best way is you either talk or you WhatsApp me. I'm sharing the screen, so I will not be able to see any uh comment, any conversation that you're trying to message me. Okay, I can't see because I'm not in Zoom. So anything you want to say, just say here or just WhatsApp me. Can? Then we move into something more challenging. Question 44. A cosine square V plus B sine square equals C. Show that tangent square theta equals C. So sometimes when we do math, it's like you die try to force thing out lor. So at the look of it, how do I actually make so when I think of a question like that, the first thing what went through my mind is how can I make tangent square theta appear? Okay, and what is the easiest way to do that? Actually, I don't want to start from here. Should I? Okay, never mind. I start from here. So how do I make tangent square appear? I know that sine tangent theta is actually equals to sine theta over cos theta. So I will divide by cosine square theta to everything. So I divide this by cosine square theta. I divide this by cosine square theta. I also divide this with cosine square theta. Okay, this will give me B tangent square theta. Okay, what about this? I know that like cosine square is not actually linked to tangent square at all. Okay, but I know that secant square is actually linked to tangent square. So actually this can be written as secant square theta. And secant square theta is actually tangent square theta minus 1. So this is how I do a question. I try to make tangent square theta appear. So all the sine theta disappear, cosine theta disappear. But in end up I left with every tangent square at tangent theta. Then it will be easier for me. So now the only thing you need to do is to expand and make tangent square theta the subject. So bring why am I upside down? Oh, tangent square plus 1. Okay, I bring this here and I bring the tangent square theta here. So now you factorize and then you just divide. Okay, so tangent square theta will just okay, not so straightforward. But then I hope that you have tried this question at home, not just come here and listen. You will learn nothing one. Oh, and this is just a very refresher lah. This one is just like a refresh your memory. But if totally you have no memory at all previously, then this will defeat the purpose of the entire thing. Okay, so you must have certain level of knowledge before uh you will feel that this is useful to you. Okay, but then it's not possible for me to go through everything from scratch. We do not have time. Okay, so That's all for Trigo already. Then now we will move into differentiation, which is something that is pretty current. So this is just let you have a feel of how more difficult when differentiation is all jumbled up. Okay, and differentiation important thing, just take notes of some keywords lah. So from the keywords you must know certain algebraic meaning to it. Okay, so 45A is a easy one. I will do a summary first. Hopefully I do it. My summary, do I want to talk about differentiation technique? I don't think I want to talk about differentiation technique. Okay, I think I need to talk about a bit lah. Okay. So the technique part, when you differentiate your polynomial, then you will just power bring down power minus 1 lah. What is the condition for this? No condition actually. Okay, part 2. You differentiate using your chain rule lah. A function then got power n. So power bring down power minus 1. Then you need to differentiate the inside. Okay, 3. You have your product rule. Differentiate fx gx. Okay, then differentiate one thing, copy down the other one, plus copy down the other one, copy down the first one, differentiate the second one. Okay, and of course you have your product rule, your quotient rule. Copy, differentiate the top, copy down the bottom, minus copy down the top, differentiate the bottom. Over the square. Okay, priority will still be these three. You have to see what you have. Do you have these three? If these three have, then you differentiate first. Then comes what? Comes 90 x is just differentiate the angle, and this one change to cosine the angle. Okay, 6 differentiate. When you differentiate cos the sine. Last but not least, trigo. Thing like differentiate x. You still have your on fx. So this just put the denominator, differentiate and put at top. Last but not least, you differentiate your exponential function power 1 because the power got x. Then you just need to multiply by the x. Okay, so need to know a few some copy down first. Okay, now let's explore some keywords that we know. So, dy dx is actually also known as the gradient of tangent to the curve. Okay, so in short, it's easier for you to remember it as just the gradient. Okay, then what else? If the question say increasing function means what? When you see question say increasing function means dy dx is more than 0. When question say decreasing function, it means d2 dy dx is less than 0. If the question put stationary point, turning point, maximum point, minimum point, all this stands for dy dx equals to 0. Okay, next you have your proof maximum and minimum or point of inflection. You have three ways to test. You have two ways to test. One is your first derivative test. First derivative represents your dy dx. So for a maximum point, if turning point is zero, really positive. This is x, and this is like x minus 0.1, is like x plus 0.1. Okay, then this will give us a minimum point. X minus 0.1 give positive, then 0, then negative. I think it's my connection. Where did I stop? Okay, so gradient negative, that will give me my point of inflection. So this is your minimum, this is your maximum, this is your point of inflection. Okay, this is only your first derivative test. You still have another test that you can do. It's called your second derivative test. Okay, so when d2y over dx squared is less than 0, this tells me that it's a maximum point. When d2y dx squared more than 0, it will tell me it's a minimum point. Okay, when d2y dx squared equals to 0, does it mean point of inflection? No, it does not mean point of inflection. It means inconclusive. We cannot conclude whether maximum, minimum, or this one. Then we have to go back and use first derivative test. Okay, so this is the like the summary of the, still have your other, so after that you still have your rate of change. So I'll let you copy down this one first. Okay, so last part of your differentiation is your rate of change. No, the change of something over dt. Rate That's how. Okay, we will have the chain rule d something over dt. So d something. What be this can be anything times d to your change rule to solve what you want. Okay, so this is your chain rule. Okay, the summary of your the questions. Okay, first thing, differentiate this. So 45A. So dy quotient rule to x1 over half minus. Okay, so I say when you the rate of change of thing is just being divided by dt. Okay, dt because rate stands for time. Then you need to use your chain rule whenever you do rate of change. D something over dt. First thing first, it must be d something over dt. Okay, then these two things must be the same. So mathematically, they will like cancel out, and when you multiply back that, y'all can see my screen or not? Can y'all just my screen? You have to talk. I cannot see whatever you are writing. Now, okay, so your rate of change, I say again, is the rate of change of some. If the question say rate of change of something, then maybe something over dt. Why is it dt? D something over dt. Write down these two things first. Write down these two. Then after that, go and think how to fill in these two. Okay, these two must be the same variable. Okay, so let's take a look at some questions. I think I will copy and paste better. There will be more space. Okay, first thing first, they asked me to find dy dx. So when I find dy dx to this, I have to apply my chain rule. Not my chain rule, sorry, my quotient rule. So dy dx is equals to differentiate 2x is 2, copy down the x minus 1 power half. This is minus because it's quotient rule. Then copy down the top. Now differentiate x minus 1 power half power, bring down power minus 1. Differentiate inside over the square, the denominator. Okay, now we simplify this a bit before we do our factorization. So this time this become x. Okay, over here what do? We factorize the smaller power out. So you factorize x minus 1 power negative half. When you do that, this will become x minus 1. And this will become minus x. Now you bring down the power negative half and you simplify the top. The top will be x minus 2. The bottom will be x minus 1 power 3 over 2. Okay, hence find the range of values of x for which y is decreasing. So when y is decreasing, we know that dy over dx is less than 0. So we have this. Okay, can we like say we cross multiply this over? Not actually can. Doesn't mean it works all the time. So you need to be careful. In O-level syllabus, it, it still works. But then when you move on to A level, then it doesn't. It's not that simple anymore. Okay, so actually, you cannot cross multiply. More of it we should actually see from this perspective. Uh, this is actually square root x minus 1 cube. I know a lot of you will just see that I multiply this over, but it's not entirely conceptually correct. Okay? So what we should see instead is we should see that I want the whole fraction to be negative. Okay? Now I know that the denominator is always a positive number. So if I want the fraction to be negative and my denominator is always positive, for the whole fraction to be negative, I need the numerator to be negative. By right, this is the concept. But I know a lot of you will just see it as this over 1. Then when you cross multiply over, you get this. I think still acceptable if you don't write this statement because yeah, you may not understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, but so if you see from the cross multiplication perspective, still alright, but if you are going to A level and all this, is not correct already later on. Okay, so for y to be decreasing, my x have to be less than 1. Okay, so this is a very straightforward and easy question to help you refresh what decreasing and increasing function is, and at the same time it also refresh your memory on your quotient rule. Okay, next. The next question is to help you remember how to differentiate your ln and exponential function. Okay, so given that y is equals to this, okay, on top I never do differentiate ln. Let's see. Have, okay. So how to differentiate ln? By right, we need to do this, put this below, differentiate this and put this on top. Okay, but uh, quite a lot of work to do. So instead of that, whenever you have a ln to differentiate, you try to use your law of logarithm first. If you can break them up, break them up. Okay, then this is just x power, ln e is just 1. So now you can see when I want to differentiate this is a lot simpler. So dy dx is just equals to differentiate this 1, differentiate this x squared minus 3, differentiate the bottom, put on top 2x. The question 1 in this form, so we just make common denominator lah. Then we can put them together already. Then this is x squared plus 2x minus 3. Then what do? We have to factorize to get into the form they want. Okay, done. So this question is just trying to help you refresh your memory on how to differentiate your log. Don't just dive into it when you differentiate log. Sometimes it will be too complicated already. You must think of applying some law of logarithm to make your differentiation easier. So you can see when we do differentiation or even integration, we don't like to lump our thing together. We like to break it up into a lot of smaller and easier term to do, separating them with plus or minus. Okay, we don't like to do them with multiplication or division because that will means that you have to use a quotient rule. Okay. Hey, next. Okay, so this question refresh your memory on how to differentiate E at the same time talk about your stationary point. So when I say stationary point means dy dx equals to 0. So I need to find my dy dx first. So to differentiate this, I need to apply my product rule. So differentiate e power 2x minus 1 is what? It will stay as e power 2x minus 1. But you need to differentiate the power and multiply to it. Copy down the other thing. Next, copy this. Differentiate 3x squared minus 6, 6x. Do you need to expand? Actually, better for you to factorize, not just expand. So factorize, what do? We take out e power 2x minus 1. Then this will be 2, 3x squared minus 6 plus 6x. Why do I factorize? Because later we need to solve. I can take out another 6. Okay, find the x coordinate of stationary point. Stationary point means when dy dx equals to 0. So when I have something times something equals 0, I say this equals to 0 or this equals to 0. However, e to the power of anything cannot be equal to 0. So this one got no solution. Okay, then this one you factorize. So x equals to -2 or x equals to 1. Okay, so that is part A. Using your second derivative test the nature of each root. So now I differentiate again. Differentiate from here. So differentiate e, we differentiate 2x minus 1, we multiply 2. So this one we have plus. Okay, do I need to factorize? Do I need to simplify? If you have the confidence to do it, do it. If you don't have the confidence, you just straight away sub your value in when x is -2. Because they also never ask you anything about this. So anyway, you don't need to go and solve for anything. The only thing that you need to do is to sub a value. So to sub a value, you don't need the equation to be nice, huh? Let me press my calculator. Uh, this is negative 0.121 less than 0. Therefore, at x equals to -2, it is a maximum point. Okay, now you put in when x is 1, then your d2y over dx squared equals to you get 48.929 more than 0. So at x equals to 1, it is a minimum point. Okay, so very technical question on your differentiation. You cannot don't know how to do this. Your question will not get easier than this. Okay, can I move on to the next one? You all should have attempted the question already, so I'm moving a bit faster. Okay, next question includes differentiation of your trigonometry, involve a bit of your trigonometry, involve a bit increasing function, decreasing function, involve your rate of change. So explain whether f is increasing or decreasing. So to determine f is increasing or decreasing, I need to check with my f prime x. I need to differentiate to check. So differentiate sign is cosine. How to differentiate cosine 2x? Differentiate cosine 2x is negative sine 2x. But you have to differentiate the angle and multiply again. Okay, that will give us okay. So now how do we know that whether f prime x is positive or negative? Remember, when you are working with trigo, the range of x is very important. So since x is in first quadrant, I will know that 3 cosine x is definitely a positive number. Okay, x is between 0 to pi over 2. This means that 2x is between 0 to pi. So this is in the second quadrant. From here, I also know 8 sine 2x is also more than 0 because sine second quadrant is also a positive number. So now if you have two positive number multiplying together, we can say that if we add the two positive number, they will definitely be more than 0. So f prime x is more than 0. Therefore, f is increasing function. Okay, it is only increasing function when x is between 0 and pi over 2. If the x changes out of this range, your f may not be an increasing function anymore. Okay, part B, a point P move in such a way dx coordinate is increasing. So based on this statement, what I need you to do is you must understand that this tells us that dx dt is actually equals to 2. And we must understand that what does the question wants me to show that the y is increasing at the rate of this. So the question wants you to find dy dt. So whenever I have this kind of question, I always write, oh, dy dt equals to dy over what times dt. And I think it's nothing clearer than choosing dx. Okay, so sine dy dx is what? 3 cosine x plus 8 sine 2x. What is my dx dt? Dx dt is 2. So this is my dy dt. They say what? When x is pi over 6. So when x is pi over 6, so subbing value is the last thing you will do lah. So 3 cosine pi over 6 is just square root 3 over 2. Then this is pi over 3. Pi over 3 also square root 3 over 2. The whole thing need to times 2. Show what, yeah? 11 square root 3. So now what do? I add these two up, I get 11 square root 3 over 2 times 2. I get 11 square root 3. Done. Units per second. Okay, so in rate of change, this is the most important one. You must be able to form this equation first. Okay. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. I know it's a bit fast today because I want to end as soon as possible. Okay, take a look at the next one. 49. Okay, so this one is your first application. That means using your differentiation, find the equation of tangent. So anyway, we find our dy dx first. So when we differentiate this, we need to apply our product rule. So differentiate x is 1, so don't need to write. Copy down the x. Now differentiate our sine 2x is cosine 2x. Then we differentiate the 2x, a 2 will appear. So this is your dy dx. Find the equation of tangent to the curve. So when we want to find equation of tangent, it means y equals mx plus c. Means I need to know my m, I need to y and x to find my c. So I know my x already when x is equals to pi over 4. So whenever x equals to pi over 4, y equals to, put this inside here, you will calculate and you will get pi over 4. Now you put this inside your dy dx, then dy dx equals to 1, 1. Okay, you put inside cosine 2x, you get 0. So now I have my gradient, I have my y, I have my x, I can form my equation. Y equal mx plus c. So c is actually equal to 0. So the equation of tangent will be y equals to x. Why x? Because the gradient is 1. and then the plus c is 0. So it's just y equals to x. Any questions so far before I move on to something harder? This is A, this is B. Okay, so let's move on to something more challenging. If you need me to slow down, you let me know. Okay, so right now 50 is a very typical question whereby they always give you a diagram, then they ask you to show something, then after that use that to find the maximum or minimum thing. Okay, so first understand what the question wants you to find. The question wants me to find the curved surface area of A. So uh just do what they want. So curved surface area of cone, I want to say first all your formulas for your cone, volume, surface area, all this is not given in your A math formula sheet. It is only given in your E math formula sheet. So you don't think that you don't need to remember them because E math formula sheet have. Wrong. Your A math formula sheet does not have any of the formula. Huh? So you die, you also have to remember. You don't remember for this question, 10 marks gone straight away. Okay? So first and foremost, always write down what the question wants you to find. So the question wants you to find curved surface area. I write down pi RL. Then from there, you need to start thinking. Okay, we put in, it's actually pi, R is your x, and then what is your L? L is your Pythagoras theorem, x squared plus y squared. Then now you compare these two. What is the main difference? You must always understand, you see from the perspective of the number of unknown. So in your A over here, you have unknown x and unknown y. But the A they want you to show only has the unknown x. So this means that you have to change the y back into x before you can show what they want you to show. So now we read the question. Oh, volume of cone is this. Means this is something that I can use to change my y into my x. Okay, so volume of cone 10 pi is equals to 1/3 pi x square h. Okay, volume of cone 1/3 pi r square h. So now I make my y the subject. The pi can cancel. So you can see that my y is just equals to 30 over x squared. Equation 1, equation 2, sub 2 into 1. So hopefully after this, it will become what I want to show over there. If not, then you have to go and sit down and redo and contemplate how to get it. But this is the first thing that come to my mind. Next thing that you need to take note is you look at this. This is a single fraction. So I will also want to attempt to change it into a single fraction. And how to do that? Common denominator. So this x power 6 plus 900 over x power 4. Okay, so you know that square root you can actually just give to the top and give to the bottom. Why do I do that? It's because you can see that the denominator does not have a square root. So square root x power 4 is just what? X squared. Then you simplify. Okay, shown. So what is involved is not the knowledge of your differentiation. What is involved is your algebraic skill. Okay, until this part, we have not done any differentiation yet. So you can see this whole part is just how you deal with your algebra and show what they need you to show. Okay, then let's move on to part B. Part B says what? Stationary. Stationary means what? Dy over dx equals to 0. Okay, so to differentiate this, quite crazy. Quite crazy. Quite crazy. Okay, so no choice I need to do. So since this is a, this is x, you're actually doing dA dx. Okay, so how to differentiate the numerator? The pi just put there, power bring down, power minus 1. Differentiate inside, power minus 1 become negative half. Differentiate inside 6x5. Copy down the denominator. Now, minus, copy down the numerator. Divide times the denominator. Divide one. Divide x is just 1, so don't need. So it's just like that. It's power half. So x squared. So now what do we do? We factorize. Take out pi. Take out x power 6 plus 900 power negative half. Then this one become 3x5. Oh, 3x6. Then this part become minus x6 minus 900. Okay, bring those that need to bring down, bring down. So find the value of x for which a is stationary. So when dA dx equals to 0, I would have pi 3x5 minus 900 equals to 0. So funny. Why I got one answer only. Okay, fifth root 300. 3.131291. Okay, determine whether is it a maximum minimum. So how I determine maximum minimum? Do you want to differentiate this again? I don't think you want. Then we do first derivative test, is easier. So if you're not sure how to do first derivative test, draw your table lah. So this is your x equals to 3.13. So we sub a bit bigger, so maybe sub 1 3.14. Then this one sub x equals to 3.12. Okay, then we find the dy dx value. Normally the dy dx value is very very small one. Okay, because it is near the it is near the it is near the turning point, so it's not big. This one give me negative 0.0987. So at 3.13 sure 0. Okay, this one give me 0.116. So this is negative 0 positive. So at x equal to 3.13, a is, sorry, better write by first derivative test. At this one, a is minimum. Okay, 52. It is given that fx is this, obtain an expression of f prime x in terms of p. So again, we have to apply our quotient rule. So to differentiate the numerator, we need to apply chain rule. Power bring down, power minus 1, differentiate inside. Copy down the denominator. Differentiate the denominator. Okay, next do your factorization. Take out x plus 2. So this will become 2p minus x plus x plus 2. Given that fx is increasing from this to this, find the value of p. So this is the reverse of the whole thing lah. So given that fx is increase, so whenever you solve this, what is the step before that? The step before that is this this time this must be less than 0. I and m I. Okay, so this is one part. This is from the answer part. Then later we compare. So the question says since f is increasing, then I will know that this must be more than 0. So because the denominator is positive, and if I want the whole fraction to be positive, then I know that the numerator must also be positive. So now you compare these two lor. You compare this and this. You can see this settle with this. So now only need to settle this and this. How to settle this and this? You can see that the x is positive, the x is negative. So what do? I will change this. I multiply by a negative. This will be x minus 2p minus 2 less than 0. Then now we can compare. We will know that minus 2p. So by comparing, we know that minus 2p minus 2 must be equal to minus 8. So minus 2p equal to minus 6p is equals to 3. Okay, now let's move on to the last question. Okay, when y equals to this, so the only thing that you can do when you pick up a question like that is to just find your dy dx and d2y dx square. Okay, so dy dx is equals to, so differentiate cos 2x is just negative sine 2x, but need to times the 2. Then differentiate sine 2x is actually cos 2x, then you times the 2. Simplify. Then differentiate once more. Differentiate sine 2x cos 2x times 2. Okay, now what do? We sub into this equation. So p d2y dx square plus 3q dy dx plus 10y. Oh my goodness. Minus space. Okay, then now what do? We just expand. It's just tedious, not that difficult. Please don't make any careless mistake. You need to do with a lot of care. Okay, what do you do next? they want what? A cos. So you put all the cos together, then you put all the sine together. Okay, then you factorize your cos 2x. Do you get what they want? Yes. 2060p. Then you take out sine 2x. Express b in terms of p and q. So by comparing, I know a is equal to 20 minus 16p minus 18q, and b equals to 12p minus 24q plus 30. Okay, any questions so far?